Again, we know that we're streaming this globally in the Philippines as well as Canada and the United States. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're not exactly sure where you're tuning in from, but again, we want to welcome everybody. Again, if you're a family of Yoli, again, we want to welcome you. And again, if you're first-time viewers, again, we just truly appreciate you carving some time out of your busy day to join us on this live broadcast. Now, again, as we get started, I want to go ahead and share with you I want to bring on, again, a very special speaker tonight. His name is Dr. Aaron Street. He's a very successful health practitioner. Again, he studies, of course, and practices in functional medicine. He's an international speaker. He actually speaks at a lot of our events as well as other seminars. He's one of our top Yoli builders, both from a product and customer acquisition side, as well as a business builder. He's married, has 4 beautiful children, and Dr. Aaron Street resides out of Iowa. And most importantly, myself and Aaron, we've become great friends over the years, someone who I look up to. He's someone who I enjoy hanging out at some of these events. And again, super knowledgeable. And I think you guys are going to get a lot out of his presentation. So with that being said, I want to make sure my friend Dr. Aaron Street is on the broadcast. Aaron, are you there?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. You're good to go.
Great. Well, thanks for that wonderful introduction. It's my absolute pleasure. And it's my pleasure to be on talking to all of you. So we're gonna move through some things today. We're gonna be discussing, in my opinion and in all of our opinions, why we think Yoli is really important, how to introduce things into your life to have success with it, and finally the base level tools. So before we get started, I really want to discuss a disclaimer. And so disclaimers are obviously what they are. So just quickly, just understanding that with nutritional products, we're not out in the world to treat or cure any diseases. A lot of times when you get healthy, good things happen, but we're not trying to do that. Same on the financial side, just understanding that what we're talking about today is for educational purposes. And finally, the healthcare professional disclaimer, me. Although I am a doctor and I work with people all over the world with really significant health issues, and that's what I do in my day job, so to speak, I am not your doctor. And so obviously we haven't been through any health histories or examinations or anything. So just understand that when we're talking about things as it relates to health, it's meant for educational purposes and for knowledge purposes for you to make informed decisions on your own. If you have any questions beyond that, you need to go to your own trusted healthcare professional. So just remember that. One other disclaimer I'll say as we move on is I also am a very passionate person. And so I can get pretty excitable pretty easily because this stuff is what my purpose and passion in life is. So the other disclaimer I'll give is if I get too excited and offend anybody, I'm going to apologize in advance for that. So if you're new and if you were invited by somebody, we're here to talk about Yoli. Yoli is the name of our company. It's a really wonderful health and wellness company that's out in the world with the purpose of transforming lives physically with people's physical health, emotionally with some of our great emotional development products and our culture, and also potentially financially for people. Yoli is an Aztec word that means to live. We get asked that frequently. And I think it's very fitting for what we're trying to do. We're really trying to help people to live their greatest life and greatest experience possible. So we're excited to have you on board. Now, like I said in the intro, for me, I've been doing healthcare for 20 years. I've seen things through that time that just really, I feel like it's important to break things down, especially when we're moving in and talking about a wonderful health company like Yoli, where we start with why. Why should somebody even consider Yoli? Why should somebody even consider taking action on their health? And then we're going to hopefully move into the how and finally the what, giving you the tools. The other way I like to talk about it is education and empowering people and finally equipping them with tools. That's usually what I talk about. So we really want to educate on why health is important, why you can actually take action and make a difference towards your health, hopefully empower you, give you some inspiration to actually take that next step. And this is the most important part, and this is why I became involved with Yoli, is the equip, the tools. The reason is you can be excited and educated all day long. You can know you need to make a change, but if you don't have a tool to take that next step and be successful in what your goals are and to apply the things that you've learned and that you're excited about, all of that other stuff is really for nothing or a moot point. And that's really what Yoli is about. Yoli is about equipping people with the tools that meet them where they're at and help them where they want to go on their journey through life. And so that's why we're really excited. So let's break it down. Why should we even care? Why does health even matter? And so for me, I always like to start with chronic disease. A lot of us have heard of chronic disease. Chronic disease is basically all the things that get us: cancer, diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune disease, all those things. Chronic disease. Chronic disease is the leading killer of people in the United States every year. 70% of people who die every year in the US die from chronic illness. That's not surprising, because if I asked you to raise your hand, and I can't see you guys, but I've spoken in front of groups of thousands or to individual patients in my practice. If I ask you if you knew somebody in your life who had a chronic illness and we explained what chronic illness was, we all would know. So that's not surprising. What is surprising to a lot of people is the statistical factors associated with it. What I mean by that is, when it comes to chronic illness, the thing that kills 70% of all people on earth or in the United States every year, 80% or higher, it's in that ballpark of chronic illness, is dictated from a risk factor by our lifestyle. 15 to 20% is dictated by our inherited genetics. So let me say that again. Chronic illness, 70% of the deaths every year in the United States. 80% of the risk factor of chronic illness is lifestyle, meaning what we do, what we eat, where we live, in our environment. 15% is your hardwired genetics. Now, when I first learned that and have seen that in place, I first of all, it's kind of scary. Like, wait a second. Whoa, what do you mean? I thought it was the other way around. I thought what I inherited from my parents, bad luck and bad genes, is what I was stuck with. But in reality, what I initially thought was scary, what I've learned as a health practitioner to teach people is, it is exciting, because we have an opportunity to stack the statistical deck in our favor. So if nothing else, that number one thing, just understanding that much of what gets most of us in the end, we have a significant amount of control over with what we do in our lives. Another big thing is, as Daniel mentioned, for me, I'm a father of 4 children and a blessed husband to a wonderful wife of getting close to 20 years. And for me, my family is my life. So when I see the statistic that my kids' generation is the first generation in the history of human beings, since there's been humans on earth, that isn't expected to live as long as their parents from a life expectancy standpoint, that gets me worked up. That's something that, I'm just not going to allow to happen. That's my children. That's your children. That's your nieces and nephews. That's your next door neighbors. That's what's going to happen unless we step up and do something. And that's why I just love to get the opportunity to get on and educate people that way. So that's a big thing. Finally, just looking at the financial cost. I mean, the cost of being sick in this country is overwhelming. I call it bankruptcy by lifestyle. And that's really what most bankruptcies are based on when you look statistically. It's healthcare issues, it's health crisis. We're in a point in time right now, we all understand where we're at, where people are absolutely valuing their health more than they have in a long time because of the current crisis we're in. And they're valuing their loved ones and they're valuing what really matters. And without health, it's pretty hard to enjoy anything else in life. If you're not there, or if you're not there in your best way, that really matters. And that's a driving force for me. And it's why I think people really need to consider taking action. So we'll just move forward now and go on. Some other things that I think are really important, just understanding. So, we've grown up, in a world of paradigms around health. And what I mean by paradigms is ideas that we all believe or that we've been kind of fed and we kind of end up. One is the world we live in through our parents modeling, through the wonderful world of marketing in the United States, and through convenience. We now have the standard American diet, which 100 years ago was something that was pretty healthy. Today it fits its acronym, which is SAD. We eat a lot of fast food, we eat a lot of refined carbohydrates, we eat a lot of things that make us sick. Hence, going back to the chronic illness statistics, it's not a surprise. I mean, I'm 40 years old, 44 when I was a kid. Life was a lot easier to be healthy. It's a lot harder to be healthy today. The foods, even if we are, so I know a lot of people, I'm a healthy doctor as a college athlete. I've worked with elite athletes. I know a lot of people that do things right, eat all organic all the time, all fruits and vegetables, just are rock stars and take over the world. What I try to get people to understand, even if you are one of those people that does that all the time, which, if we're honest, I don't know too many who do that all the time. Never eats, never has any pizza, never has any beer, never has any birthday cake. probably doesn't have much fun if that's the case. But even if you were one of those people, the unfortunate situation with our food available to us today is that our nutrient density in our food that's available to us is so much less than it was even a generation ago. There's a really great article in Scientific American called Dirt Poor that kind of lays it out statistically. Just basically discussing like the nutrient value of fruits, vegetables, and even our protein sources of meat are so much less nutrient dense. So for example, my 12-year-old son eating a carrot today, that carrot has about 50% less nutrient density than a carrot I would have eaten when I was his age. It's just a lot harder to be healthy. And the reason we bring this up is just to get people to understand, even if you are trying to be healthy, it's hard. And this is also where when we really start looking at supplements, this is where I think supplements really come into the mix, and really looking at supplements in an appropriate way, which means they're there to supplement what we should be getting from our food and we're just not able to get in today's world. Another big thing, again, I'm an athlete. I've worked with a lot of athletes through the years, is a thing called metabolically obese normal weight. It's also known as TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside, which basically means somebody who's skinny or even very fit and ripped like an athlete, but internally their biochemistry is disrupted. This is an example of your friend who can eat whatever they want and not gain weight, and we're jealous of them, or an athlete who trains really hard all the time and doesn't recover appropriately, or somebody who's skinny and suffers from things like migraine headaches or fibromyalgia. It's basically people who look skinny, but they're not healthy. And the reason that's important to understand, first of all, that's about 25% of the population of the United States now. So in that, 78, 79 million people and growing, that fits into. And it's even more important to understand when we go back to the chronic illness side, that group of people is actually at a higher mortality rate from chronic illness if they were to get one, people who are skinny. So it's not just about being overweight. You can be terribly unhealthy and not be overweight, be skinny. And I think that's a really important thing to understand. You can even be a fit athlete and be very strong in that one component of fitness, but missing out on your biochemistry and your emotional, physical health as well. So those are important things to understand, and that's a why. Then we get to the how, and the how is tricky for a lot of us because we live in a world of confusion. We live in a world of the internet. We live in the world of the rise of the guru and the rise of marketing, all the diets, all the fads. And quite honestly, if you don't have a degree in biochemistry and understand the physiology of the human body, it's like ridiculously hard to figure out what to do. I see it all the time. People want to get healthy. They've tried and worked so hard and done so many things, but failure after failure after failure, or recurrence after recurrence after recurrence, over time, it just wears you down. And I don't blame people. They start thinking they can't do it. And that's just not true. The key is we just need to put things in the right order and understand that diets really aren't the answer. We got to start looking at what do we do to help our body be healthy. And as a side effect of being healthy, we can lose weight. Or as a side effect of being healthy, we can gain athletic performance or mental and cognitive performance, or we can perform better at our job. Or as a side effect of being healthy, we can show up in our marriage or our family in a much better way because we're actually functioning as a healthy individual. So it's not about losing weight. It's not about achieving a performance goal. Those things come, and they'll come in a much more sustainable, much more over time rewarding way if we focus on the foundation first. Let's understand what being healthy is about and take those actions. And then as a result, we'll achieve the goals we want. And that's really what we're about here at Yoli. It's about meeting people where they're at and walking them down the path to health. And as a result of being healthy, helping them achieve their goals they're wanting to get. A big thing is just breaking it down. In order to really be healthy and have a health system that's going to get foundational health approached, we got to deal with the pillars of health, body pH, which is important for all of our chemistry, gut health, microbiome. There's huge research labs being put up at major universities just on that one thing of gut health and microbiome. Oxidative stress, inflammation, basically how the world works against us, creates inflammation, sets us up on that path to be unhealthy, detoxifying our body. I think we all know we live in a toxic world, chemicals, air pollution, preservatives in our food, toxic emotional things. Anytime you turn on the TV, it's a toxic world we live in. Energy. And I'm talking about, first of all, obviously energy, like that, but also I'm talking about a cellular level, our mitochondria and how they work to drive our cellular health and therefore drive the health of our body. Sufficiency, flat out. We already talked about how the food we have is so much less nutrient dense. How do we make sure we're getting enough of the building blocks into our body that our body needs to function? Most of the things when we look at, nutrition and supplements and things like that, it's like, for example, just whatever, a B vitamin. People say, I'm going to take a B vitamin to do this. I'm going to take a B vitamin to manipulate my body in this way. And that's not really how it works. The reason taking vitamins and supplements and things like that in many ways work is because those are things our body's supposed to be getting, but it's deficient in. So just giving our body the building blocks we need, it's like if you don't have your building blocks, it's like trying to build a house without any wood or without any bricks. You can have 1,000 carpenters around, but if they don't have any building blocks, you're not going to get very far. Sufficiency of your macro and micronutrients really matter. Blood sugar support, our insulin response, how that drives inflammation, how that drives so much in our body, primary health concern. And then the big trifecta at the end, the neuroendocrine immune system, basically how our nervous system, our hormone system, and our immune system all work together, both in positive and negative cycles, to help us achieve or work against us in achieving our goals. That's a lot of stuff, but that's all of those things need to be addressed in a health system if you really want to make a dent. And so moving forward, we're going to get into how Yoli does support foundationally pillars of health and how it does it in a quality way. So it's really, we're a company that's about transforming lives with integrity and with the intent to really make a difference for people. We do that through GMP certified facilities. We're approved in Health Canada, and the reason that's on there is because, let's be honest, Canada is healthier than the United States. One of the reasons they are is they make it a lot harder to put bad stuff in foods. If you can be approved in Canada, that means you have a healthy product. Food and Drug Administration in the Philippines, also very stringent, and you'll at least pass those. 100% natural ingredients, GMO-free, gluten-free, hormone-free, vegan. We're really moving down the line of making things vegan certified, grass-fed, and pesticide-free. So that's just a little overview of the point. Yoli really is about being a high integrity based ingredient and a very high quality system based company. So then we get to what does that mean? So I'm just going to recap briefly. Why do we care about health? Are you somebody who sacrifices your own health to help your family, to help your kids, to help your parents, to help your coworkers, give to everybody and sacrifice your own health? If that's the case, I think it's important to note that being selfish about your own health is the least selfish thing you can ever do, because if you're not showing up at your best every day, or if you don't feel good about yourself every day, you're not going to be able to be there in the best way possible for the people you love and care about. And it's just the truth. So being selfish about your own health is the least selfish thing you can do. Or are you the ostrich? Are you the one who sticks your head in the sand and just hopes that if you don't think about it, or if you don't take action, or you don't talk about it, you just think everything's going to be okay? It's something to really think on. And so that's why. How? We talked about it. We want to address the pillars of health, and we want to do it in a high quality way. And finally, now we're to the what? The tools. How do you implement into your life to actually have sustainable results? And that's where we're at. We're with what Yoli calls a better body system, a transformation kit. It's a beautiful synergy of how to eat food, how to appropriately use supplementation, and how to be supported on your mental, emotional, cognitive journey so that you can enjoy forming new habits that are going to serve you and grow you for the rest of your life. So it's easy. It meets you where you're at. You could be, I always say, you could be Joe Blows living on Budweiser and Big Macs, or you can be elite CrossFit, all paleo, all organic all the time. And your lifestyles can fit into what we do here at Yoli. And that's why it's really good. Again, it's a health game system. It's about actually addressing foundational health, and as a result, giving you the side effects of your goals. And people get results flat out. It's about impact. At the end of the day, if we're not talking about results and we're not talking about moving the needle towards your goals, I don't know what we're talking about. So I've learned that perfect and impact are two different things. We're about real world results, making a difference on the ground for somebody and doing it in a way that they can love and enjoy and do. And that's what this is. This is so easy. Even a husband can do it. And I can say that because I'm a husband, and it's a wonderful program. So we'll go through what this is. So what you get in your initial transformation kit, and that's really what it's about, foundational health. Alkalite. Alkalite is a world-class patented alkalization supplement. We're talking about pH and alkalization. Yoli does it right. They know the difference between intercellular and extracellular pH. They know the difference between interstitial pH and plasma pH. We're talking about making a difference in your body's chemistry to make you healthy, and by using minerals in a patented distribution form to do it as best as any supplement I've ever seen in the world do it. It promotes healthy pH levels. It helps with athletic recovery. It helps your body function at every level biochemically and moving forward. It's one of the most important products I've seen in my 20 years in practice. For this, guys, and I'm going to say this, pH is a deep subject. There's a couple videos that you can watch down below that kind of break it down, and we'll be adding even more to it, but there's a couple great videos. So if you want to learn more about what pH is about, and you don't want to sit through me giving you a biochemistry lecture for 2 hours or 10 hours potentially, that's where I would go after this. So Alkalite, really great. Passion. I'm kind of a clown. I could throw some juvenile jokes out there about passion, but at the end of the day, what passion is, it's a world-class energy-based supplement. And by that, I mean, it's about really addressing things at a root level. Full complex of B vitamins, really important. B vitamins are there to help our nervous system function better, help protect us from free radicals that damage our nerve cells. It's there to help support our endocrine system, our hormone system appropriately. B vitamins are necessary for our liver to detoxify our body properly. So that's important. It does have metabolism boosting and an energy producing caffeine, but it's unique because it's what I call an adaptogenic caffeine. It's a caffeine that's derived from plant-based materials, green tea mostly. And the idea is it's going to give you energy without stimulating your autonomic nervous system and without causing adrenal issues with your body as much, because it's balanced with L-theanine and some things. I call it adaptogenic caffeine. Energy without the crash, energy without the jitteriness, just natural, real energy that comes from having sufficiency in B vitamins. It's amazing. It's one of the best things I've seen for getting people to break the habit of soda. I think we can all understand soda, especially diet soda, is really terrible for us. In my experience, over working with hundreds and thousands of people in this, is that people just don't struggle to quit drinking soda using Passion as a substitute, and it's wonderful. So it's really a great product. The Yoli Essential Shakes. I call these my happy gut shakes. And what I mean by that is the ingredients are just really, really important for the pillars of health. It's, first of all, let's just start with, there's two, there's vegan and then there's our whey. But our whey is undenatured, grass-fed, cold processed, hormone-free, antibiotic-free whey, which is a superfood. It's a donor to help our body boost glutathione levels. It helps give the building blocks for the neurotransmitters in our brain. High quality whey protein is a superfood for humans, and that's great. Very few proteins on the market actually have non-denatured whey. A lot of times it's heat processed, and that's not good. The other thing Yoli shakes have, though, is a full complement of they call it a lean immune blend, but it's all modbiotic and high ORAC value antioxidants. So what that is, it's a serving of vegetables, a serving of polyphenols in this shake that tastes like, chocolate milk, and that's great. And that helps with the environment in our gut. It helps produce an environment that allows healthy bacteria to have an opportunity to thrive and to work against us. Modbiotics are huge. And then it also has a very strong probiotic, spore form probiotic that really can colonize. So it's a happy gut shake. You get very best quality of whey protein available in the marketplace. You get lean immune, which is a serving of vegetables. That's a modbiotic pro gut blend. And then you also get very well done high level probiotics. Amazing. Comes in vegan, comes in chocolate and vanilla. The biggest thing, though, when we're talking about, again, impact and real world results, tastes good. People like doing it. It doesn't matter if it's healthy if you don't do it, right? The next thing we have is Pure. Probiotic, prebiotic, modbiotic, digestive enzyme, liver support, all in one amazing product. world-class probiotics that survive stomach acid, actually colonize, modbiotics, which set up the environment for our healthy ratio in our body. Digestive enzymes help break down and digest food, also help combat inflammation, work against things like that. Milk thistle, helping our liver detoxify better, helping boost our body's natural antioxidant glutathione, all in one product. World-class, amazing. Helps with the immune system, helps with all those things as far as supportively. Our gut is such a big deal, and Yoli addresses gut health and microbiome health in many different ways. Resolve, another gut health product. Again, we're following a trend here, right? Talking about the pillars of health. So Resolve is another pro gut. It's there with this special fiber called glucomannan, which is a modulating fiber, which means it can help you feel satiated. It can help you digest your food better. It can help be a nutrient to heal gut lining. It can help speed you up if you're too slow. It can help slow you down if you're too fast. It's just a wonderful gut supplement. It also helps reduce and slow the absorption of carbohydrates so we don't get a big spike in our blood sugar potentially with absorption. So glucomannan in all studies is just a wonderful thing. It also has apple cider vinegar, long known to be a pro-gut, pro-healthy pH, pro-skin, many different things. And then apple pectin fiber, which is a well-known fiber, well-known modbiotic that just really helps our body work better. So Resolve is just another addition working towards the pillars of health, and that's what Yoli is all about. And again, it's more than just products. You can take supplements till you're blue in the face, but if you don't do them in the right way, for the right meaning, and if you don't also change your lifestyle, then results are going to be limited. And so Yoli is really there with a real amazing eating plan that's designed off of taking the best components of intermittent fasting and mimicking those, taking the best components of the ketosis diet, mimicking those, taking the best components of nutrient timing and mimicking those. So basically you're getting the mimics and the positives of those three things in an easy to follow diet. It's also compatible, meaning that wherever you're coming from, like I said, if you're coming from Budweiser's and Big Macs, you can do this. You can implement this in your lifestyle using the macro base. And if you're coming from totally grass-fed, totally organic, totally paleo, totally grain-free, totally dairy-free, totally blah, 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 you can do this too. It's meant to be there for everybody. It's meant to cover the spectrum. And then it puts it into a system. So the reason I love systems create synergy. And what I mean by that is it's more than just the sum of its parts. When you add the wonderful supplements we just talked about with the wonderful eating plan, and you put that together in the right timing, 1 + 1 = 100. The synergy we get by putting things together in the right way at the right time maximizes results. And it's done, in this case, in an easy to follow system. You don't have to understand anything I just said. You just follow along. And guess what? When you do it over time, 28 days, you form new habits. You find that this is something you can sustain and do over time, that you enjoy. You're obviously going to see results. And that's what we're all about, is really breaking through that noise of all that confusion, giving you something you can do, giving you something that has impact, giving you something you can enjoy, and giving you something that can sustain your results over the long haul. That's what this is for. And then we have many other things. So the transformation kit is where we start. Then we have optimizers. So we have digestive enzymes, proteolytic enzymes. We have wonderful vitamins, minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, a wonderful lean greens that has ashwagandha, a really great adaptogen. It has chlorophyll. It has, full servings of fruits and vegetables. For those of you who don't like to eat fruits and vegetables, a wonderful thing to add in. We have Dream, which, as you can see, a good night's sleep is important to be healthy. What are we hearing about right now with all these risks for health that's going on in our world? Get good sleep. Try not to be stressed. Dream is really great for both of those. And then we have Glow, a really great hair and nails product. Sports performance. Like I said, that's the world I come from. I was a college wrestler. I was a pretty big gym rat meathead for most of my life. I say that with affection. And Yoli does so much at a base science level to help people with their recovery and their performance goals. Fun, Passion, PH2O, Yes Shakes, Alkalite, Flex. That's just to name a few. Actually, the transformation kit really goes in that direction as well. Immune support, kind of a hot topic right now, right? First of all, I'd like to say on that, just being healthy is your best result. If you're healthy to start with, your immune system's going to be there, in the way that it can. But Yoli has done a really good job of having really good immune support supplements. Truth, a wonderful drink. There's two flavors, the citrus orange. It's going to date me, but it tastes like Tang, but with no artificial sweeteners, none of that stuff. It's a super fruit, antioxidant, digestive enzyme, immune boosting machine. Now we have the new flavor, Truth Pomegranate. Tastes amazing. These are things that my kids use or things our family uses. Great substitute for the sugary drinks. A great way to be healthy, a great way to get your hydration while you're doing a transformation kit. We have Pure, which we already talked about, really well done gut supplement. Defend is like the SWAT team for your immune system. It has things like the medicinal mushrooms, reishi, ganoderma, shiitake. It has bovine colostrum. It has astragalus. It has echinacea. It has bee propolis, all super strong SWAT team immune system supplements. And then finally, we throw Dream in. And the reason is, first of all, getting a good night's sleep is one of the best things you can do for your health in general, including your immune system. Also, melatonin in the Dream is shown to be a first-line defender for our innate immune system. So that's pretty cool. pH support, we already talked about that. Like I said, that's about your entire biochemistry. Everything that chemically happens in your body happens better if your pH is supported. So Alkalite, Lead Greens, Fun, which is an amazing Gatorade substitute, has alkalite in it, has branched chain amino acids in it, has electrolytes in it, tastes great. Wonderful substitute for the sugary sports drinks. And pH2O, which is a pH machine. It's meant to be a flavored water way to change your hydration and change your pH. Really great. And then we're back to the real people, real results. And that's what this is about. We're about impact, which means helping the most people get the most results. So I work with people every day who have failed time and time again. And it sucks if that's happened to you. But this is a system that can really help people. And it's not just here's the box of stuff, do it. It's the support. It's the care. It's the love that comes with this company. It's the mental programs we have that come with the company. It's the people. Real people who just want to help real people. I've also worked a lot with, super elite, freaks that just take over the world and crush everybody they compete against. And this is for those people too. It's for people who want to achieve at the highest level. It's for people who want to perform at the best. It's for people who want to take over the world. It's for them too. And it's for everybody in between. It's for people who care about their health, people who care about their performance, people who care about their waistline, all of those things. And young, old, man, woman, doesn't matter. When you do things right, the human body is there for us. And that's what I would say to anybody. So if you're somebody who, if you're on this call, you're here for a reason. And I'm saying that because I just know all of us need to take action. All of us need to value our health. All of us need to put ourselves first so we can be there for the other people. In the airplane, when they go through it at the beginning and the oxygen mask drop down, they don't say, hey, put the oxygen mask on everybody else first, then put it on you. They say, put it on you first so that you can then help the people you love and care about. That's what we're about. And the other wonderful thing that we're about is taking people through the journey, walking you in, getting you to get your results, transitioning you to where you can help other people. And that's really great. So whoever invited you to be on this call, please get back in touch with them. Please learn about this. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, which I think is huge because it diminishes the risk. You don't have anything to lose to take that action, to use this tool. Nothing. You can get your money back if it doesn't work. There's also ways to move forward and learn about how you can help yourself and turn that around to help other people. And there's even ways to learn about how you can become a team member of ours and really join our mission to go out and really, really help put a dent in the universe, make a change, make a difference by helping other people. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend, a mentor of mine in the world, somebody I know is just truly one of the coolest, kind of smartest dudes I know, just a tech genius. I'm saying that because I'm not very tech savvy, but somebody who's a designer, one of the nicest men, father, stepfather, husband, and one of the most exciting and dominating business builders there is in the industry of network marketing. So with that being said, I'm going to bring on my good friend, Daniel Song.
I want to dive into, for those of you guys that were invited on tonight's call, obviously take a look at a product. I think a lot of people, for the majority of people probably invited on tonight's broadcast, it was because maybe there was a health challenge or something that your friends saw in you, a need that they saw with you. And that's why they invited you onto this presentation. But again, for many people, this may be a very, very relevant opportunity to take a look at. Even if it's not for the immediacy or the need right now, it's probably good information to just kind of keep in the back of your pocket as kind of a just in case. So I'm going to try to get through this information as quickly as possible. Again, like I said, it's good to kind of frame up and understand what's going on in the world today, much like Aaron did with the health community, why he gets fired up and passionate about sort of the health and wellness world. I'm a long time through and through entrepreneur. So again, for me, this is an area that I get excited about. But this is some of that sort of the financial challenges that we see in America. Number one is we live in a generation where a lot of families are what we call dual income families. And basically what that basically means is that both the mother and the father are both working to support the family. But not only are we seeing this dual income generation, we're seeing a lot of families where they're dual income plus a side business or a side stream of income. I'd like to call it a side hustle. 1 in 3 American families actually right now participate in some form of a side income or a side hustle. And for the younger generation, like the millennials, more than half have a side business on the side, right? So the average American family has less than $1,000 right now currently put away in their savings account. And 84% of Americans are just not ready to retire. You know, again, at 65 years old, 67 years old, you look at your 401k, you look at your pension, you look at your savings, and you just realize there's just not enough there to be able to retire and sort of continue the sort of the means of life that you guys were looking at. And here's one of the big challenges and why this is kind of really happening for a lot of Americans. On average, in the last 2 decades, when you look at the last 2 decades in America, the cost of living has gone up by anywhere from 40 to maybe 60% in the United States. Obviously, if you live in big metropolitan areas like Los Angeles, the Silicon Valley, or like the Bay Area, New York, obviously that's probably leaning closer to 60, 65%. But wages, you know, and the cost, I mean, the money that we make from our jobs have only gone up by maybe 10 or 12%. So you can see how that gap has risen. And that disproportionate gap is where a lot of people are seeing that problem. So the things that, for example, the money that your parents were able to make to be able to buy a home or to be able to buy an automobile, it's much more difficult to do things like that today. This is a very sensitive subject, but one that I do want to share with some level of empathy, because I do want us to understand the relevance of what's going on, because we are talking about a very unprecedented situation in America and around the world. So I do think it is very important to understand this. Of course, the COVID-19, again, I don't think there's any debate. When it comes to the health impact, I think that's obviously the more important thing to be able to be mindful of. You know, there's a saying that says that we can always get the economy back to a good place. But when you lose a loved one to an illness or a disease, you don't really get to get back to a good place, right? So let's definitely, you know, I want to use this segue to obviously pay our respects to all of our frontline healthcare workers that are out there working with patients and working with people. We appreciate everything you guys are doing. That being said, again, we need to understand that when you peel back the curtain and look beyond the health impact of the coronavirus, let's start looking at the financial impacts, right? So some people optimistically, there's a lot of debates, but let's say optimistically, we can get the virus under control from a health standpoint or an infection standpoint in the next, let's say 2 or 3 months. The financial side of things doesn't necessarily recover just as quickly. Now, there are things that will rebound pretty quickly, but there are certain industries which will take years for it to fully recover before, again, like to a place where we were before the coronavirus. Some economists are saying basically 2 to 3 years for that to happen. And that's on an optimistic level, right? Most people have kind of seen the signs on the wall that a recession was sort of on the horizon, but we're now looking at the coronavirus as the reason why we're jump starting right into that recession. Last I checked, that roughly about 18% of Americans, meaning about 1 out of 5 people you know, are currently either out of a job, furloughed, laid off, or maybe given reduced hours at their job because, again, they're either non-essentials or the business just can't operate under the current conditions. So it's super unfortunate, but again, you got to understand 1 out of 5 people are currently displaced from an income or a level of their income that they were used to or accustomed to just less than 60 days ago. So you can imagine how much people are frantically searching for an alternative, a side stream of income, a hustle, or some way to fill that gap in, right? Over 6.6 million people filed for unemployment last week alone in the United States. And again, I have a lot of friends who own small businesses, so this one definitely goes out to them. But 14 to 30 days of cash reserves for the average small business, meaning if a business wasn't able to generate positive cash flow during, let's say, like a restaurant, right? When patrons come in and buy their meals, they have to make a certain amount of money to be able to stay afloat, obviously. Most restaurants and small businesses only have 14 to 30 days of cash reserves if they're not making positive income flow for it to last before they have to start really making some sacrifices or potentially laying off people or potentially again closing down their business. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Again, we're talking about one of the things that a lot of people are looking towards, and this was even before the coronavirus. We live in an age of what we call the gig economy culture. Again, dual income, side stream of business, right? And again, 1 in 3 American families are doing something like this already, right? So that could be things like lifting a Lyft or Uber, where you're giving rides, renting out your room or your home through Airbnb, maybe picking up groceries, waiting tables. I mean, there's just a ton of opportunities when it comes to these sort of modern gig economy opportunities, right? In many ways, though, the similarities of these type of opportunities is what's similar to what we do. Now, there's a lot of things that our industry is referred to as, a home-based business, a network marketing company, again, a social commerce, social marketing. But again, for the sake of discussion, we're just going to call it direct selling. Now, what are some of the benefits of a direct selling company? Number one is the low startup cost and the barrier to entry. Now, why is that important? When I got started 17 years ago in this profession, and again, 9 years ago in Yoli, I was in a financial place where, again, I was in debt. Again, I was a college student getting ready to graduate. I didn't have a lot of money in my savings account. I think I had maybe $500-600 in my bank account. I was $160,000 in student loan debt. So even if the opportunity of all opportunities was to present itself and the cost to entry was super high, unfortunately, I would have been disqualified from the opportunity. So, again, this is going to be important in today's economy because, again, a lot of people are displaced from a job. They're going to want to look for something that they can get into relatively easy. Like when you look at Uber, you just have to download an app, fill out a driver profile, and within a day or so, you can be set up to drive for Uber. You want to create low barrier to entry so it makes it as easy as possible for people to get in. One of the other benefits is that we get to work on flexible hours. We get to create the schedule. So again, if you do have a primary career, maybe obligations to your children or your family, you get to build your Yoli business around the times that you have free. Of course, the extra income on the side doesn't hurt. One of the other benefits is a community of like-minded people. Now, there's a saying that my mentor taught me. It says, Daniel, when you go into business as an entrepreneur, for the most part, most people are in business for themselves, but they're also building their business by themselves. So can you imagine you're in a shopping center and you own a restaurant? Most likely the other restaurants in that shopping center are not going to want to necessarily help you because the better you do, you're going to be probably taking away from their customer base. So you're in business for yourself and you're also building your business by yourself. Now, the way it works in Yoli, again, you're in business for yourself. You are your own independent contractor and your own business owner, but we're working with you. We want to support you, right? So you're working not by yourself. We have proven systems and support tools, and that comes from obviously an incredible founder team and an incredible marketing team on the corporate side, as well as collaboration with a lot of the top proven leaders in the company. Our goal is to give you away all of our turnkey secrets. We have amazing systems, virtual platforms. We are in a business that literally can be built in a 100% virtual and remote environment like we are right now. A new sense of purpose or impact. When they do a lot of job satisfaction surveys, one of the common responses that they get back from people is what I do, is my job truly making an impact in the world? Now, again, like I said, a lot of us work because we need to make the money. And again, we're not going to deny the importance of that. But again, a lot of people want to know that the hours they're spending at their job or their work means something to somebody. One of the great things that Aaron mentioned is this idea of impact. When you share a product like Yoli, and it's very experiential. So when someone loses weight and basically the person they see in the mirror is a completely different person, they see themselves as beautiful, they're happy, depression is lifted. That emotional burden that was lifted off that person, when they text you and say, Daniel, I feel great. Aaron, thank you so much for sharing this. I've never felt this way before. I feel beautiful. I feel positive. I feel confident. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, as corny as it sounds, that might weigh a lot more than the currency that you earn from the sales of that product, right? So from an impact standpoint, a lot of people do discover a new sense of purpose or calling by going out there and impacting people's lives in a very significant way. Now, again, it's not just all about making money. I think it's very smart to also save some money, right? So when it comes to taxes, which I don't think any of us are exactly smiling about right now, um, by owning a business, you're able to now lean on and deduct what we call valid business expenses. Now, of course, you want to consult with a CPA or an accountant for all the details. But when you own a business and you deduct business expenses, you're able to save on tax liabilities, right? And so the average American family, by just enrolling or participating in a business like Yoli, could probably save anywhere from $3,000 to $9,000 a year just on tax expenses alone. Now, we're not asking you to go out there and buy forklifts and warehouses and delivery trucks. We're not talking about new expenses. We're talking about things that you're probably already spending your money on already, right? Things like your cell phone payment, things like maybe high-speed internet, things like maybe a device like a smartphone or a laptop that you use for broadcasts like this. So there are a lot of things that you're already spending your money on for your day-to-day things that can now be written off as a business expense by using it for your Yoli business. Let's talk about the power and the impact of residual income. You know, when you talk to your friend who invited you obviously onto this call, and you ask them, hey, how are you doing in Yoli? Now, first of all, don't compare your potential to someone else's results, right? I mean, if I went and looked at the person in my school that was getting C and D grades, and I asked them and I used that as a judgment as to how well I can do, that probably would leave me from not wanting to try. Now, again, one of the things that you have to understand is that our results are going to vary based on our own individual effort and how well we build our business. But I do want you to understand really the power of residual income. Most of us are familiar with what we call linear income. That basically means we go to the job, we put in the 10 hours, we get paid for those 10 hours. Even if you're in real estate, you go and you sell a home, you get paid the commissions for that home, but in order to make more money, you would have to go out there and sell and continue to sell more homes. So when you turn to your friend and say, hey, how well is Yoli working for you? And, maybe they just, humbly say, hey, my Yoli business, I work it part-time. I make maybe like $500 a month. Now, again, $500 a month is not going to buy you a jet plane, a Ferrari, or this, jet setter lifestyle. And that's not what we're about. We, truly in this economic condition, we're talking about ways to fill in that gap. You know what I mean? That extra $300, that extra $500 of income where maybe the hours that you were reduced, maybe it can just replace some grocery money, just to lift a little bit of that financial burden off of American families' backs. That's what we're looking at. Now, does this opportunity provide more? Absolutely. But I think we should focus here first. And then as you build your business and you see the potential, you can run with that, right? So looking at $500 on this chart, okay, you can either build a customer base, and people might say, how do I build a residual income with Yoli? It's very simple. You introduce people to the products, people get on the products, they begin to consume the products. And as they get the experience, as they see their health do a 180 or see this experience and they can't get away from it, people will inevitably continue to consume and reuse the products. And when they do that, they can be on what we call an auto ship program. It's kind of like Amazon subscription programs or loyalty reward programs. It's just a simple way to get your favorite products month after month. They bill you, they ship you, and you just don't have to deal with any of the hassles, right? So by doing that, you essentially talk to the customer one time. You make that sales transaction one time, but the customer has the potential to reorder month after month after month, and therefore you're earning the commissions or the volume off that order month after month after month. And that's the basic premise to the residual income. So imagine going out there and building a customer base that pays you, let's say, $500 a month in residual income. Again, $500 on paper doesn't sound like a lot of money, right? But again, if you were to do that in traditional linear income world, again, you would have to park away about $120,000 cash in a bank, assuming that the bank would yield you 5% annual interest, right? So 5%, which is pretty high. I mean, that's being pretty liberal, but again, it makes the math easy for the sake of this presentation. So at 5%, you would have to park away $120,000 in a bank for the interest to be made $500 a month that you can live off of, right? So you got to ask yourself, what's easier to do? Get a handful of customers that love and enjoy a product and get paid $500 month after month after month, or go out there and park away 120 grand and you can't touch that money and live off that $500 month after month after month. And for most people, we talked about this earlier, majority of American families have less than $1,000 in their savings account, let alone the fact that you got to find 119,000 more to just be able to accomplish this. So again, when Bob or Mary tells you that they make a part-time income of just $500 a month, I mean, our initial reaction may be to like not see that as impressive, but that's the equivalent of having a $120,000 asset sitting in a bank, guys. So that's the power of residual income. That's the impact. There's surveys that was done even before this economical crisis where people are saying an extra $300 to $500 a month can significantly change marital, outcomes. Again, we obviously, unfortunately, know divorce rates are very high in the United States. The number one cause of divorces are because of financial stress, and an extra $300 to $500 can alleviate a lot of those problems, right? So don't underestimate the power of that. Now, for some of you guys looking at Yoli for the first time or familiar with network marketing or direct selling, some of you guys might be like, well, is this really a viable alternative? Is this really a good substitute for my job or my career? Now that, again, I'm not working, is this really a viable opportunity? And the answer is yes, it has been a viable opportunity. And I think society is starting to understand that more and more. And in the last 60 days, obviously, with everybody working from home, I think it's becoming obviously clear that this is something that you probably need to add to your financial framework, not just a savings account, not just a checking account, not just your primary job, but you do want to build a business from home. So in conditions like this, you still have an alternative source of income. Now, looking at global sales of direct selling companies as a whole, you can see the growth trend over the last, let's say, 8 or 9 years. In 2017, global sales for direct selling companies, $189 billion, right? And to give you a little bit of perspective, in America, the NFL is roughly about $12 billion, right? The movie industry, $38 billion. When you look at big movies like the Avengers Endgame, which was probably the largest film of all time and something that was huge last year, I mean, we were celebrating when that movie cracked $1 billion in ticket sales. And that's like the biggest movie we've ever seen, right? So $38 billion for the movie industry, video game, $91 billion. And again, direct selling as a whole, $189 billion. So this is a lot bigger than most people give it credit for. It is growing. It's continually becoming more adopted and more accepted. So again, might as well take a look at something like this, right? In terms of product sales category, and this is the reason why I want to share this slide with you, if you're going to get involved in an opportunity where you get to promote and share a product that you get excited about, first of all, find something that you genuinely get excited about, right? But the second thing is you got to understand your consumer base, right? You got to look at your demographics. Am I selling something to an audience that really is looking for it, or am I selling something that nobody's looking for, right? And based on the statistics, 34% of consumers are either involved or selling or promoting a wellness-based company, right? So in this case, again, 1 in 3 people are, basically 3 in 10 people that you will talk to are going to be buying or consuming some type of wellness product. So your audience base is much more broader and general by giving you, of course, your best opportunity to be able to share an opportunity like this. Last thing, and this is super important for me, I live in a family where the women rule my family. I mean, again, my wife is the CEO of my family. I have, of course, 3 beautiful daughters, 1 in college and 1 in high school. I have a lot of very strong, empowered women, and nothing makes me more happy than to see these people and the ladies in my family succeed as well as around the world. But we do know this exists, right? Gender inequality has been a hot topic, right? Debated in the entertainment industry, debated in corporate America, debated in other professions. Direct selling is one of those few industries where it doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're women or a man, if you're young or you're old. And Aaron was talking about this with the products too. Like the Yoli products don't care if you're a guy or you're a girl, or if you're young or you're old, or, Chris Medina, one of my buddies, will always say it doesn't care if you're from Yale or you're from jail. I mean, the point is it's all based on equal opportunity. It's all about going out there and sharing the products. The person who does the most of that, of course, is going to be rewarded the most. It happens to be that 74% of direct sellers in our profession happen to be women. The majority of top income earners and successful stories that you'll get to hear are also women. Now, you heard from 2 guys today, but we don't represent the majority. In the next few broadcasts you'll see in the upcoming weeks, you're going to get to hear from some beautiful, smart, intelligent, and super successful ladies that have built this amazing Yoli business. The last thing I want to share with you, again, is another very timely slide, meaning this will probably not exist at some point. This is not part of our permanent presentation deck, but again, I do think it's important to understand this. As a lot of people, again, 1 in 5 of Americans are displaced from their current job or their their business or whatever it is, and they're looking for a way to fill that gap in terms of lost income, again, ask yourself, could this be an option for you? Beyond, of course, the low barrier to entry, the flexible hours, the built income on demand, the customer, the residual, the power of all of that stuff. Is this really what people are doing, right? So let me give you a statistic. This was done over March, from February to March, and it surveyed over 60 direct selling companies like Yoli, that are headquartered in the United States. And these companies have to be doing at least $5 million a month in sales or greater. And the majority of their sales, of course, has to come from the United States. And out of the 60 companies surveyed in the statistic, 85% of those companies showed positive revenue growth from the month of February all the way to March 22nd. Now, again, we're not seeing the full scope of the financial impact of the coronavirus. But again, you got to remember, by early March, we were already seeing the NBA being shut down, travel industry come to a halt. We were already seeing a lot of industries getting disrupted in early March. So you're talking about 3 weeks of data all the way into March, and you're already seeing 85% of direct selling companies, at least the ones surveyed, seeing a growth in income. Now, why is that happening? My theory is two things. Number one, again, when so many workers and employees around the world or in the United States are being displaced out of a job, they're looking for something else to do. So a percentage of those people are finding direct selling companies as a viable alternative. Now, again, doesn't mean everyone's going to come into a direct selling company, but I do believe there is an influx happening right now and will continue to happen. Now, something very similar to this happened back in 2008 and 2009 during the mortgage crisis, when the housing and the lending industries all collapsed. We saw a lot of real estate agents, lenders, and loan writers all transition into network marketing and direct selling companies, taking a lot of these companies, some that I'm very familiar with, that I built with, in 2008 and 2009, from $92 million to over $1 billion in annual sales, because high-level professionals were entering into this market, right? So I think we're going to see something similar to that. The other reason why you're seeing a growth in sales is because of the products that you offer. Now, again, if you're offering services or something else, it may be a different story. I don't know. But at least when it comes to wellness products, again, that topics like immunity, right? And wellness and health, they're big buzzwords right now, right? If you go to Target, if you go to Amazon, products like Emergency, Airborne, like all these products that are designed to help support and fortify your immune system, all of that stuff is sold out, meaning consumers are buying stuff like this, whether it's from direct selling or a big box store. They're buying this in a numbers that they've never done before, because again, people are much more aware of their health and their surroundings. Even in our own company, when Aaron got to the slides about the immunity products, majority of those products are sold out. Now, we do have alternatives to those products. So again, if you're truly interested in immune support products, talk to your friend. We'll get you linked up with the right products for you to try. But again, a lot of those sales shot up overnight because of what's going on today, because of the demand on the health awareness as well as the displaced workers. That's why we're seeing a growth in our revenues in this profession. So I do think it's very relevant for people to kind of just know this information. We understand that this is not going to be for everybody. And again, going back to the original slide, most people are going to get started on the products. We understand that. And they're going to experience some result on the products, right? You get started on the kit, you use the products, you get a result, and inevitably your friends and family are going to ask you, what are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you able to do this? I mean, there's jokes and memes about people in quarantine like gaining weight. I mean, going the other direction. They're becoming less healthy in quarantine. Now, there's a percentage of the population that's trying to become more healthy, which I think that's exciting, and I think that's the right way to do it. But there's also a percentage of the population that is now backsliding because we're more sedentary. We're just at home. We're not out and about. We're not doing our daily things. And I think for a lot of these people, like I said, as they see the experience, they're going to get excited, maybe during the crisis, maybe even after the crisis. But the point is, a lot of people are going to get on the products. And when you see the results, your friends are inevitably going to ask. And when they ask, then you have the opportunity to organically share the products. And the same is true for the business. When people understand that you're able to build a business through virtual, like Zoom calls, through virtual presentations, you can do it with your laptop, your mobile phone, that you can build a stream of income sitting in the comforts of your own home, people are going to want to know more about that. So just be open to that. Again, let's talk about Yoli really quickly before I wrap things up. Again, Yoli is a 11-year-old company, again, founded in 2009, over 100. These four gentlemen that you see in the top, Robbie, Corey, Darren, and Bobby, along with Kimmy Fender. Kimmy is Robbie's wife, and she's also a founder of Yoli. These five people have over 100 years of experience as a direct seller network marketer, not as a company owner, but a distributor just like myself, just like Aaron, and just like the people in Yoli, right? So there's a high level of awareness to what the distributors need, right? The company is 100% self-funded. There are no outside investors. There are no stockholders or shareholders. And we are a debt-free company. We have a beautiful 100,000 square foot office out in Salt Lake City, Utah. You see a quick little photo of our international headquarters. We also have a satellite office in the Philippines. We're open in 3 international markets currently, both in the United States, Canada, as well as the Philippines. And one of the more recent developments was we partnered up with a company called Trusome Visions earlier last year. The CEO of that company is Mr. Rod Hairston. You see his photo to the right. Rod was a master trainer for almost 2 decades for Tony Robbins. He's a high performance coach. He works with Fortune 500 companies. He's a consultant, and his team basically steps in and helps Fortune 500 companies get better, right? He's even helped a few companies in our direct selling space go from hundreds of millions of dollars all the way to $1 billion in sales. So Rod, doing what he does, being great at what he does, partnered up with Yoli. We recently made Rod the president of Yoli. So again, this is now a deeply rooted bond. And again, we're excited by this partnership and what it's going to do for the company. Now, as we kind of wrap things up, there are a couple options. Again, Aaron kind of showed you the one option of getting started as a customer. And again, that's a beautiful option for a lot of people. But why are we showing this little box? For a lot of people, again, when you talk to the friends that introduced Yoli to you this evening, a lot of these top earners and a lot of these people that are building a business with Yoli, a lot of times when you ask somebody, where did it all begin? A lot of times people tell you it began with a box like what you see on that screen, a transformation kit. A lot of these people made a decision to empower and improve their health condition. And by doing so, they realized there were so many indirect benefits or all these benefits that came with that box that they didn't realize. Number one is, again, the community. You guys are seeing this virtually right now. But again, man, oh man, when you get a chance to attend a Yoli event, you're going to see some amazing culture. You're going to see just a group that is so positive and supportive. Some people will just simply show up every day for the community, right? And we have that here for you. So again, there are going to be generally 3 types of people after seeing a broadcast like this, what we like to call 3s, 2s, and 1s. And this is just to help collect the decision with your friend. Again, a 3 basically has some questions. They want to take a look at more information before they make a decision. And that's totally okay. Again, it's really encouraging to know that a lot of our top earners were stubborn 3s in the beginning, but after taking a look at the information, I'll be honest with you, I was a 3. My sponsor who was sharing Yoli with me for 2 or 3 years, I kept saying no to him. I wasn't interested. I wasn't ready for it. And as a hardcore 3, obviously conditions in my life changed and I began to take a look at it with an open mind, and the rest is kind of history, right? Number 2 is somebody who wants to jumpstart their physical health first, right? You want to experience the products before you really try out the business. And again, we showed you why that's still a very powerful option, because again, inevitably you're going to get started on the products. You're going to have great experience. And again, people may begin to ask you. And at that point, as a customer, you have the option to say, okay, maybe I do want to get involved in the business, right? Either way, we're going to show you how you can save up to 20% on that initial order. So talk to the friend that shared this broadcast with you, and they'll show you how you can save 20% on your first order. And then for the few that are on it for the opportunity side. So if you're the person watching this broadcast where maybe your income was impacted by the coronavirus, or maybe you've been looking for a home-based opportunity, or you're just simply looking for a way to just even advance yourself in this adversity, and you see this as something that you want to do, then yeah, let's definitely get you started on the products. We definitely want to make sure that you are the product of the product and not just a promoter. So let's get you started on the transformation kit or a combination of different products. And then again, we'll help you save 20% on your first member order. And then we'll also show you how you can launch and build a business, not just an incredible business of network marketing, but a business that you can build from home, a business that you can build 100% online. Because guys, it's not theory. It's not a concept. We're doing this right now. There are hundreds of thousands of people in Yoli that are virtually building their business literally in a remote world. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we have this option, guys. So anyways, guys, I really appreciate you guys spending the time with us today. This was our first ever broadcast on this portal. So we